going to keep moving. And of course, we're always so happy to have Commissioner Charlie Zelle join us. He's just been a fabulous Commissioner of Transportation. We really appreciate our relationship with him and with MnDOT. He has become such a great advocate for transportation, and he's been all over the state talking to news media, talking to businesses, talking to elected officials, and talking to legislators, of course. And yesterday he was in front of the House Transportation Committee, and one of the legislators remarked that even though he's not an engineer, he sounds like an engineer, and he knows what he's talking about. So, please join me in welcoming Commissioner Charlie Zelle.
Does this work? Oh, it does. Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Margaret, so much. That is so kind of you. And goodness, if I'm sounding like an engineer, there's something drastically wrong. Although I think finally the legislators say, enough with the bus guy and I'm a travel agent. We've heard that too much. My Jefferson friends here are laughing. But really a great pleasure to be here, and yes, it has been a wonderful partnership with the Transportation Alliance over a number of years. All of you have made a real difference in advancing the idea that transportation really matters to our state, and that there is work to be done. And the fact that we're actually having a spotlight on transportation this year is in part due to the years of effort that all of you in this room have made in helping make the case, and actually, I think, a very bipartisan case of the arithmetic of what it is we're facing in the years ahead. I really enjoyed this morning's session, having a panel with representatives from Michigan, Wisconsin, and then James Corliss from Transportation for America. I certainly have seen their presentations in the past, but it really brings it home when you hear about what they're doing in their states, and the fact that Minnesota is not unique. There are states, there's 50 states and a district that are facing serious infrastructure issues, and every state handles it slightly differently. But when I go to AASHTO meetings, and I've gotten to know other commissioners or secretaries or directors, I kind of forget who's the Republican and who's the Democrat and who's north and south. Or is east and west. The issues about aging pavements, deteriorating bridges, transit systems that need to be built out are very common themes. And oddly enough, Michigan in particular, I've gotten to know Kirk Strudel, who's their director of transportation, has been there for many years, and Governor Schneider. I've been on a committee and on maritime task force for Great Lakes shipping, and sat at the table with Governor Schneider, who makes the business case, being from the private sector himself, that it isn't just about the transportation systems. It's about the economic development and the prosperity that transportation systems provide, and that it is such a bad business if we let them erode. We pay more by neglecting that investment. So I find it wonderfully ironic that we have the Republican governor from Michigan and Democratic Governor Dayton here in Minnesota seeing very much eye to eye that there is a strong business case, but a strong kind of foundation for all the things that Minnesota really loves, and it really comes down to how are we going to be able to make investments to ensure that we're not squandering our future. I've had to tell you, it is a great honor to work for Governor Dayton, no matter what he pays me. I really appreciate it. I'm supposed to not say that, but I will. I really love working for the people of Minnesota, and especially for his leadership, in part because he's a little unfiltered in the sense of he wants to do the right thing. And transportation is a perfect example of his commitment for the long-term prosperity of our citizens and our state. He is passionate about it, and he's going to continue to speak out. And I know to the extent we have representatives across the state, I will be traveling with him at times, and I know that there's others, including Lieutenant Governor Smith and others, and certainly here in the Metro with Chair Dunnick. We will have more events, and in fact, I think even next week I'm traveling with the governor to talk about how these investments impact our state. So stay tuned. I know that this is the legislative season. We know we have a month ahead. I think we're definitely in the phase of finding what is needed, what is the gap. And I have to offer MnDOT, and certainly Adam will speak to this, but there is a foundation of pretty solid facts and planning and models and arithmetic that can help support all the efforts that you and collective folks are making. And if we can help provide those facts either at a district level, I'm looking at some of our district engineers, or we can do it at a kind of a more global level. We really want to be partners in helping make sure that whatever planning or thoughts, that we really are very accurate about what is required, not this year or next year, although we're happy to talk about that, but really over a 10-year period. It is a 10 years toward a 50-year vision. 10 years doesn't solve anything, but it's a really good period of time to know that in transportation, it takes that level, that kind of time frame in order to get anything done. I talked yesterday about Interstate 94 and the Metro, the fact that I thought coming in 2 years ago that at least I won't be the commissioner who has to deal with Interstate 94, but it turns out I am that commissioner because you know what? We have to start planning now for reconstruction of pavements that are already beginning to erode and deteriorate. And if those of you drive on that road fairly often will attest to the fact that thin overlays of asphalt doesn't solve when you have substructure. This is when I started sounding like an engineer. Substructure starts deteriorating, and so you don't need to be an engineer to kind of figure that out. And likewise, we do not have the funding for the 53 relocation. It is not actually in the budget. We are actually planning. We're marching forward. We are on schedule. By the time the mining companies close the road, or at least take back the land that they own, we actually have to move a trunk highway, and we have a pretty good plan for but it's a $200 million plus perhaps plan, and we have $61 million programmed for that bridge. We have, you know, we're just the planning and the contractors at MnDOT. We'll do a good job. We are on budget and we are on time, but without funding, that project doesn't go forward. Highway 14 does not go forward in terms of strategic expansion. And many of the preservation projects will not go forward. I get the question yesterday, do we have the capacity at MnDOT to spend some $700 million of additional funds that are part of the governor's plan? Absolutely we can. I just checked with Mike Barnes this morning in the elevator, and I looked him in the eye. Where's Mike? Anyway, who was our head of all of our operations, and I said, am I lying? He said, no, absolutely. We have on-the-shelf preservation projects that we can be doing this next summer and continue the engineering and the planning and the right-of-way acquisition for the projects that we could bring online in the next 2 to 3 years. So the message I kind of say is 10-year plan. It starts this year. It is urgent. We know that people are kind of satisfied with Minnesota. We have a wonderful quality of life, and the business environment is robust. But we can't plan our future by looking in the rearview mirror. We actually have to think about what's around the curve, where we are heading. And I think if we love Minnesota, the parts that we love most about Minnesota are requiring ongoing investment that does have an economic return. It has a measurable benefit, so don't think of it as just costs and hidden costs. The real hidden costs are those of deteriorating roads imposed on our citizens through beat-up cars and congestion and the lack of attracting talent, although I'll let Adam knows more about that. But roads and bridges and transit are all part of one collective network. So I'm looking forward to answering questions. I'm looking forward to marching over the Armory in a few minutes, and thank you.